The best moments of the 2024 season.
You guys put Donald Young in the retirements and not me? Jesus.
I'll say this, Jack. You faked it well, though.
You just got to play Kyle Edmund first.
And you got to be acting like a bitch like I was.
Sam, any rebuttal after the fact?
I was a pioneer in the game of pickleball.
Amelia Earhart was a pioneer, but by all accounts, she was not a great pilot.
Ay, ay, ay.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Nothing Majors. John Isner here, joined with my co-host, Sam Query, who I think is still in Mexico, Stevie Johnson, and Jack Sock. And we are always with our executive producer, Charlie Fox, and his production team at Stiff Creative. The 2024 season is officially behind us, so we are going to touch on that right away in this episode. Before we begin, Stevie, I have a just quick question. Is that a real plant or a fake plant behind you?
No, it is a fake plant. We get a lot of decor movement around in the house.
I've been seeing it for many weeks. And all right, that's it. I think we should talk real quickly about Jannik Sinner and his ridiculous year. He was 73-6, over a 92% win percentage. Obviously, we know what he did with the 2 slams, winning 8 titles, Davis Cup on top of that. So he's in some rarefied air with players that have 70 wins and 10 or few losses in a season. Federer, ridiculous as he was in 2004, 5, and 6, did that 3 consecutive years. Through 2004 to 2006, he only lost 15 matches total. Ridiculous. Nadal's done it 3 times, Djokovic 3 times, Murray 1 time, and now Sinner has done it 1 time. I have a quick question for you guys. I'll open it up. Stevie, I want you to go. Do you think this year that Sinner had in 2024 is repeatable for him?
I think it could be repeatable. It looks effortless when he's out there playing. I mean, what he went through, I guess, this year that none of us knew about from March till the U.S. Open, everything that goes into behind the scenes, what he was dealing with the suspension and drug testing and all that stuff, and still produce a historic season. It's truly remarkable. For guys like him and Carlos, it doesn't feel like they've even hit their prime. I just think that there's better tennis ahead of them, and that is scary for the rest of the tour. But his record, to be on a list with those guys with 70 wins and less than 10 losses, that's an incredible feat that's clearly only been done, by 4 other guys. So an insane season that I didn't think was possible after, Roger and these guys did it.
Yes, it's repeatable. I'm probably being like that weird. I'm not like old, but that guy who thought like, oh, when I played, everyone was better. I'm still a little more impressed with the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic records because I feel like the era that they played in was stronger than the era right now. Again, I'm probably just being that like grumpy, like retired guy that thinks when he played, everyone was better. So for that reason, I think Sinner's going to have another season like this just because him and Alcaraz, Zverev's in there too. There's a pretty big gap, I feel like, between those top like 2-3 guys and then everyone ranked between like 5 and 100. So yeah, I think he's going to get it again.
Agree with Sam. I think some of these records from a little while ago are more impressive to me, but yeah, I think he'll do it again.
I think it's repeatable. I think going into 2024, if you were to say that someone was going to have a 73-6 win-loss record with 2 slams, you probably would have said Carlos Alcaraz. I think a lot of people did, of course, believe that Sinner could challenge Alcaraz in 2024. I don't think many people believe that he would actually surpass him and be the far and away number 1 player. So that surprised me a little bit. I think a lot of people had Alcaraz, for me, going into the year penciled in as the number 1 player. But what this spells out for me is very good news for tennis in general on the men's side, because Alcaraz, they're great friends and they're rivals, of course, but Alcaraz wants to get that number 1 ranking back. So Sinner's going to keep pushing Carlos. Carlos is going to keep pushing Sinner. So it's going to be fantastic for both those guys. I expect both of them, as we talked about a few episodes ago, to firmly be in the mix each and every week, each and every big tournament. So it's going to be great for tennis with those 2 guys in particular are making each other better.
Do you think, you just said I think a lot of people, for the beginning of the year, they would have expected Alcaraz to have this year and not Sinner. Do you think that's just because like worldwide Alcaraz is more popular than Sinner? He's like got more like charisma and he's got more followers across social media and he's just like a more of a showman. Or like if you're like an insider in the tennis world, you're probably not shocked that like Sinner actually had the better year.
I think for me, no. I just thought, because prior to this year, Carlos is the one that had the slams. Sinner hadn't had any yet. He'd been pretty close. They had that really, really unbelievable match at the US Open a few years back, but Sinner had been somewhat close, but I didn't think he was going to win 2 slams this year. Pretty ridiculous. We know how he's good on all surfaces. He's especially good indoors. We talk about how he dominated the World Tour Finals in Turin, but hard courts, far and away the best player on hard courts, not even close. So I think the overarching theme here is that we all believe that what Sinner did in 2024 is repeatable. Health withstanding, of course. You look at all the big three, Fed, Nadal, and Djokovic, they've all had years like this year over year, and that just breeds so much confidence for them. Obviously, we know how talented all these guys are, but they become so confident because they've won so much that they go out on the court with this sort of aura of invincibility. That's tough to go against for their opponent. So for me, and I think we all just spoke about it, like Sinner's going to have that confidence going into 2025, of course. None of us had ever reached the level of confidence that Sinner has. I mean, there were some spots in my career where I did feel a little bit invincible. I want to open up to you guys. Like when you were your most confident, did you feel like no matter who you were playing on the other side of the net, like you were going to beat them? What did that feel like for you guys on a confidence standpoint?
Yes, I want to say like, yeah, the years that I felt the best, maybe 2010 or 13 or 2017, I had a confidence where I didn't feel like I was going to beat everyone on the other side of the net, but I felt like I would beat everyone maybe like outside of the top 10. Like if I played someone ranked 12 that was predominantly a clay court guy and I played him at the US Open or Cincinnati, I had an inner belief that it's not a big deal. Like I'm going to beat Nicolas Almagro today. I know he's ranked 12, but like I'm just not going to lose to him. It switched a little bit if I started playing like a Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Ferrer, Berdych, guys like that. But yeah, I kind of Sinner and these guys, he probably has it with everyone ranked, just everyone. But I had it with guys like 11 and lower at times in my career.
Stevie?
Yeah, I just had a kind of going back to Sam. So when you won you just spoke on 2017 when you won in Acapulco, unbelievable 5 matches in a row. Were you feeling that like invincible or confident going into the tournament, or did that kind of come because you beat the who's who of, top 15, 20 guys that week to get to, to that title, including Nadal?
No, the week before I lost first round in Del Rey, and then I went to Acapulco and I grinded through a first round match against Kyle Edmund, where I didn't play well, had a bad attitude, ended up winning. And then Craig Boynton, who we had on a few weeks ago, got super pissed at me at dinner that night. Basically, was like, you were acting kind of like a little and like, we're not doing this anymore. And like one of the few times he like kind of laid into me, and then it like I had like a freedom after that, and then ended up beating like Goffin, Thiem, Kyrgios, Rafa. I had like a belief, but like I kind of gained the belief each match. Like I'd play like a few games against Goffin and be like, okay, like I'm feeling really good and free. I'm gonna beat him. And then against Rafa, like in the final, it was kind of like 1-all, 2-all, 3-all, and I felt really comfortable and had the belief that I could beat him kind of after like 5 or 6 games.
It's a good feeling to have. I mean, I felt like I didn't have like the aura of invincibility on tour ever. There was years where I felt as if I could beat everyone 30 and below, if we got to that point. But there was just some tough matchups for me that I just couldn't get out of in certain tournaments. It was just one of those things where my game style did not affect certain guys. So there was a bit of a ceiling where I was kind of on tour, and I felt more so like that at the Master Series, or kind of once we got to the third round of slams, like it just was tricky for me. So I never got that feeling of, hey, I'm just going to go out there and walk through this tournament Monday through Sunday and lift a title. All 4 titles that I had, there was plenty of moments I should have lost or had to scrap one out early to get through to hold the trophy. So I never felt like that, and a bit jealous because that would be nice to feel.
Yeah, I can't say ever probably rocked up to a tournament and then was fully confident I was going to win it. I don't think that probably happened much for any of us.
I'll say this, Jack, before you keep going, you faked it well though. I feel like there was times where, like, you had like swagger and confidence that you're like,
Yeah.
like Jack feels like he's going to win this 250 on clay.
No, that's a good point, Sam. Jack, and I remember, I don't know what year it was. I'm going to say 14, 15. Jack, I feel like you did have this level of confidence. Like, yes, you're not going to go out there and, like, win every single 500 match. You had some stretches, in my mind, in your career where you were just completely confident. Like, Jack in full flight was, like, really, really fun to watch. Like, when you won Paris, a similar story to Sam before Acapulco, like, kind of going into that tournament, like, you were playing like you got out of jail.
Thanks.
You just got to play Kyle Edmund first. You just got to play Kyle Edmund.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you got to have first round. And you got to be acting like a like I was. I was yelling to Jay Berger, and I was like, book a flight. And
yeah, you were playing like that's not a knock on you. You were playing like for that tournament. And then you end up winning the tournament. And then you went to, for me, I would say the most confident you've ever been was in the final 8 in London, knowing that, wow, like, I was so close to not being here. Like, so it's like playing with house's money. And you play great, and we know you almost won that tournament. So, I don't know. I mean, just like
good call on that one, John.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is, like, when I won Miami, I was playing like for that tournament. I was like 1-7 on the year or something. But Jack, you and I won Indian Wells doubles.
Yeah. Dude, doing well in doubles helped with confidence without a doubt. Like
I think the most confident I've ever been was after winning Miami, getting through some tough matches, winning that tournament. And the best I ever felt was traveling. Remember, we've played Davis Cup in Nashville indoors. All you guys are on the team. Like, traveling to that Davis Cup, I'm like, I feel so good. Like, I don't even need to practice. I'm just going to go there, like, work out a little bit, hit for 20 minutes. I know I'm going to win. Like, granted, we weren't playing against, like, really, really great players. But that week in particular at Davis Cup in Nashville, probably the best I've ever felt in my career as far as confidence goes. I think for you, it did, because you won so many doubles matches, kept you on the court, kept you in good form. You didn't have to get crispy on the practice court. But
well, thank you for pumping my tires.
So Jack, go back to tell us about how you're not confident.
Yeah. And I was gonna say it's hard to follow that up now with no, I would say probably beginning of 2017, or obviously, I mean, that year, but beginning of that year was the only the main stretch. I feel like throughout my career, I think I was the first player to 20 wins that year. Started out with the title in Auckland and then title in Delray due to a walkover in the final that we don't need to speak about. And then I was going into Indian Wells, kind of like you're saying. I guess I was going into Indian Wells there with a lot of wins, and I was playing well, and body felt good, and that was probably the most confident I felt in a stretch. And then going semis of Indian Wells and then quarters of Miami, kind of back to back, and I think I had a pretty good lull there throughout the middle of that year, but still felt like I was hitting the ball well, and then obviously capped it off with a very unexpected Paris win. But I guess I bluffed it pretty well. Yeah,
you had a period though, like going back to what we were saying, like when you were playing well, like let's say you were playing Nishikori in like a round of 16 at Indian Wells. Like I had the belief that like you were gonna beat him, kind of. I was like, oh, like Jackson, like he's got that like walk right now, like
yeah, he's moving so well, like he's getting around his back end like so
he's
quickly.
Gonna get him.
Yeah, he's gonna get him.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys. I do appreciate it. I think there was probably a lot more going on internally than what was showing on the outside. Then, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Hey, Stevie, I want to put you on the spotlight. You talked about there were certain matchups that you didn't like.
Yep.
I always thought, and I had two players in particular, and tell me if I'm right, that I thought were like matchup nightmares for you. Both Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say they're very good players. One's a 3-namer. Carreno Busta. 2 3-namers. See, this is what I think. This is what I think. So I want you to tell me why I'm wrong.
That's a different
Carreno
3-namer.
Busta and Bautista Agut,
Yeah.
I thought were matchup nightmares for you. Both of them.
What gives it away? My 0-7 record against Bautista Agut? Or
Bautista is a nightmare.
Maybe my biggest regret in my career, I had him semis of Valencia in like 2015. I had like 6 match points. It was end of the year, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm going to finally clip this guy, and then he beats me like 7 straight times after that. But there was a few guys. But yeah, Bautista was by far, I mean, of the guys that I played more than, a handful of times, I just couldn't, I couldn't eclipse. And I tried a lot of different game plans. I won a lot of sets actually, but the matches weren't close. Like I got him in Auckland, like 6-2 in the first set, and then it'd be like 2-2. Like he would figure it out and be like, okay, actually, I know how to beat this guy. This is what I'm going to do. I've done it 6 other times, and we're just going to do it. And that was it. So, matchups were sometimes not in my favor, but there was a lot of matchups that were in my favor. So, you can't dwell on the negatives in our world. You just got to hope you don't play certain guys until the final.
Well, the old Valencia, for our listeners that maybe not remember that tournament, it was a 500 indoors in October, and it was always really still warm in Valencia every single time. And they played it in a museum. Kind of a weird tournament. I enjoyed it, but anyways, neither here nor there. Okay, so we're going to pivot. We're done talking about Sinner. His year is ridiculous. It was a good year by anyone's standards. So we're going to put him to the side, okay? Sinner's to the side. We're talking about Alcaraz, Zverev, and Djokovic. And I want you guys to tell everyone if you think that they had, by their standards, good years in 2024. So Alcaraz, that we know he had the 2 slams, he won Indian Wells, and he won Beijing, 4 big titles, 54-13, win-loss record probably not as good as he would hope for. Sasha Zverev ends the year number 2, but as we all know, did not win a Grand Slam, still yet to win one. And then you have Djokovic ending the year at number 7. He doesn't really care about end of the year ranking. We know that. Did not win a slam for the first time in forever, but he won the one tournament he wanted to win, the Olympic gold. So with those 3 guys, Jack, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to single out Carlos Alcaraz for you to analyze. Stevie, I want you to talk about Sasha Zverev, and Sam, you talk about Novak. So Jack, for Alcaraz's standards, do you think he was happy or unhappy with the year he had?
I think on the slam front, you win 2 slams. 2 slams is 2 slams. I would think maybe in his mind or in his team's mind or whatever, maybe some results outside of that, maybe a few more losses than he was expecting. I would think maybe what they're in their expectations. But you can't, I don't know, having 2 slams and winning 54 matches and Indian Wells, Beijing titles. Hard to think that you'd be frustrated about that, but I would also think at that level, and like we said, I think they probably wish maybe a few moments throughout the year were a little different, but overall success. Very successful year.
I feel like he had a phenomenal year in the sense that, like, the casual sports fan, like, knows that he won Wimbledon, won the French Open, finaled the Olympics, and is the most popular tennis player on the planet. So, like, that's, in my mind, if you, like, take aside, like, the Masters series and Sinner stuff, like, I think Carlos's year to this casual sports fan and to himself, if he realizes this, was incredible from, like, those pillars.
If you want to keep going on this, just a question for you guys. Looking back at, like, Rafa's career, obviously somebody that I'm sure, looked up to quite a bit. He played every tournament and won every Master Series, like, forever, but was hurt a lot. I feel like Carlos is doing his schedule strictly to win slams. Like, he's missing Master Series. He skipped Madrid, or he's not playing, Montreal or whatever. Like, I think his only goal is to win slams. Like, I don't think he cares, or the rest of his team cares about winning the 250 and, whatever. Like, the money's not the issue. But I just feel like he's only doing things to win slams. Like, he wants to get to that 20 number. But maybe I'm wrong on that. But that's what it feels like his schedule is doing, because he is missing certain big events that, Rafa never missed in his career, but ultimately had a lot of injuries.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you. I think at such a young age, I think once Carlos gets to 27, 28 years old, he might pivot towards that. I mean, he missed tournaments just simply because he was hurt. I don't know which ones he missed off the top of my head, but I still think at such a young age, he wants to stack as many titles as possible. He feels that his body, he could play a bunch of matches. So for, win Indian Wells, Miami, like, winning tournaments like Miami are still hugely important to him in my mind. Just because he's so young, right? So you want to just keep stacking up those big events that the ATP Tour has. Stevie, what do you think about Sasha's year? No slams, world number 2, won 69 matches. How would he assess his year in your mind?
I think he had a good year. And this is, we're splitting hairs here because he is year end 2 and he's been a staple in the top 5 for the last 7-8 years, whatever it's been. But the only thing, I'm going to speak for him here. The only thing that matters is a slam title. Like, that's it. He's accomplished everything else he's probably wanted to accomplish. The slam title, that's it. Like, I think that's all he has left to accomplish. Not all he has left to accomplish, but that's goal number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. There is nothing more important than him, eclipsing a slam. So I don't know if that means playing a little less tournaments and getting ready for the slams. I have no idea what they're going to do with their schedule. But without him holding a slam trophy in 2025, I think that'll, barring injury, that'll be another really good year, I'm sure. But it's not an outstanding year. He needs to win a slam. He is probably one of the best players of all time to not win a slam at this point. And he's by far and away good enough. He just he's had some chances in finals and he just hasn't gotten over the hump. So for him, a good year, but without a slam title, not a great year.
Yeah. It seems to me that he would take, for 2025, he won 1 title and it's 1 slam, but he finishes 7th in the world.
Doesn't matter.
Opposed to what he did in 2024, finishing 2, winning all these matches, Master Series, this and that. He wants to slam. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Steve.
He would trade every other title for 1 title. If it's a French title, US, whatever it is, that's it. If you could tell him you're going to win 1 title next year and it's a slam, I think he would sign up for that without even questioning what the rest of the year looks like.
All right, Sam, let's round off this little segment. Why don't you talk Djokovic? Finished 7th in the world. Horrendous year by his typical standards, but he did win the Olympic gold. How would you assess it?
He had a phenomenal year. He had the year that Stevie is saying Sasha Zverev wants.
Yep.
He won the Olympics. That's the only thing that he hasn't accomplished. And I bet if you ask Djokovic, what are the 3 greatest years of tennis you've ever had? This year makes that list because of that one event. And it kind of capped off what is I'm not saying a career because he's still playing, but he's checked every single box on the box of things you can check in tennis. And so I think this was a phenomenal year for Djokovic from that standpoint. Having said that, the year as a whole, terrible for him.
No, I'm with you, Sam. He checked the final box of his career. Obviously, he's still going. We know that, but he won the game of tennis after he won that Olympic gold against. It's he finished the video game.
Right? He checkmated everyone.
Done. Yeah.
The last boss.
Let's chat through some memorable moments from a fan's perspective that were sent to Nothing Major Pod on Instagram. Some questions that some fans sent to us. So let's get into that.
All right, everyone. We posted on Instagram asking for your guys' most memorable moments. So we have picked out quite a few here, and I will kind of pick a few and we'll bop around. I think a few of these might just be making fun of Sam, per usual. But let's kick it off. So one of the first kind of fan moments that we had was from Gabriel Baruch, and it is just Alex Bublik saying that Sam sucks at pickleball, and I think most of us somewhat agree, somewhat disagree. He's at a bit of a disadvantage, right? He's got 1 working Achilles, so it's tricky. Sam, any rebuttal after the fact?
Right now, yeah, I suck. I've got 1 working Achilles. Prior to tearing it, as Jack knows, I was underrated. That comment that Bublik made, referring to a comment that Tommy Paul was in the locker room talking about my pickleball game. These guys don't know. I was a pioneer in the game of pickleball.
You were a pioneer.
I'm a great player. I'm a good to great player that had tough draws. Let's just state the facts. And I'm good at pickleball. Jack knows.
Way better than the rap you get. I couldn't agree more. Your draws suck. You seem to get the short end of the stick there. I'm always going to be. I'm a huge Sam Querrey fan for pickleball, and I remember telling people right before the Achilles went. I remember telling people you're playing way better. For your standards, you were already good, but I feel like you were getting way better, and confidence was there, and some of your partners are, a little sus at times and your draws were tough, but But yeah, like but you're a very good pickleball player. A lot better than anybody writing in here. I mean, so.
Well, I mean, look, like Amelia Earhart was a pioneer, but by all accounts, she was not a great pilot.
Yeah.
So,
True.
it didn't end well for her. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like in our pilot episode, we touched on Sam maybe not being one of the best and brightest on the people.
Look, I'm not a top 10 pickleball guy. I'll admit that.
But I think Bublik put a nice little bow on.
Bublik doesn't know anything about pickleball. Like
he just gets secondhand information from in the locker room.
Yes.
All right. Here's another one from @J2TheWorld. Djokovic, Olympic gold, an incredible, rare sports moment that made me emotional. Did it make you guys emotional? Watch him win that. Any type of feeling, one way or the other.
Did you say Djokovic, by the way?
Djokovic.
Yeah. I heard.
Wait.
You said that like super Euro or something.
Wait,
yeah.
Good catch, Jack.
It's
Charlie and the team do not cut that out.
Don't
Stevie said
Cut nothing.
Cut nothing. I'll say that, like, I'm not an emotional guy, but when Djokovic won the gold medal, I was like, I might have wiped away one tear. I thought it was like a pretty special moment.
No, I mean, it didn't make me emotional. I was super happy for him. I think we all like him. Very, very nice guy. But I mean, it wasn't like emotional for me, but was super stoked for him and in his career to have finally gotten that.
Crazy happy for him. Did not move me to tears. Was an unbelievable moment to see. It's the fact that I never thought Sam Querrey's cried in his life, but he shed a tear for Djokovic winning the Olympic gold. So Sam was touched by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just an emotional guy. From @Rika Burr, going back to the U.S. Open, the Fritz Tiafoe semifinal match. I found it to be incredible to watch two young Americans in the semis, guys that actually have legitimate chances to win. So it was an incredible moment. They had a 5-setter. Great for American tennis. What are your guys' thoughts?
I feel like John was there. You probably got the best take on it.
Yeah, I was there in the stadium watching. The buzz before the match was crazy. Like, you could cut the tension with a knife in that stadium. It was just slam packed. Everyone was excited for that match. They had 2 days each to prepare for that match. So I remember when Taylor was on the pod, he talked about like those 2 days were really, really long. And just to, after winning the quarterfinals, then waiting for 2 days to go into the semifinals, it was a lot of angst and nervous energy. I'm assuming both guys had. What was a good match? I don't think it was the highest quality match, but the drama was great, in the sense that it went to 5 sets, 2 Americans playing to reach their first major final. So that was an awesome moment for American men's tennis, no doubt.
This one's good for all of us here. This one's from @DigiWiser. The appearance of the Nothing Major podcast. Big one for the group. Jack, come on. What do you got for us? Our merch coordinator.
Yeah. Mr. Merch over here. No, I think that is, that's got to be up there for sure. I think we all thoroughly enjoy doing this. We love, tennis has treated all of us really well, and we love talking about it. We love the fellowship together, and we're very stoked for hopefully a long career with Nothing Major. And I would say it's got, Djokovic gold or Nothing Major appearance in the world, probably it's got to be close to a tie there.
Yeah.
I feel like Nothing Major popping up on everyone's radar is a true watershed moment for the game of tennis. We're delivering what the fans want.
We're filling a hole people didn't know existed.
Yeah, there you go.
You think you think it's unexpected for people? Like, you think they didn't see the four of us? Jumping in and talking tennis, and
I tell you what, it was unexpected for me. I always told when I retired, I'm like, no. People asked me, like, would you want to ever do a podcast? I'm like, no, I'm not going to be the athlete that starts a podcast. It's ridiculous. It's so cliche. And now look at me.
Look at you now.
Yeah. It's another stereotype.
Exactly.
All right, here the last one from the fan related questions here. I think this is the most important one that this moment may have put our podcast on the map. And this one's from @HoodKenji, the HiMyNameIsLP blooper. Sam, any thoughts on that about 3 months later?
Look, you guys know what it's like reading these usernames. it doesn't like flow naturally.
We
You
sound
got
like veteran potters.
there's like you got like people with capital letters, lowercase letters. I'm looking at it again right now. Hi, my name. Well, no, we've changed it now. Reading it, it didn't look this smooth when I was reading it. We've all made these mistakes. It wasn't.
I just said
obvious.
Djokovic. So
I even go back and look at it, and like I was like, my name is whatever. I think it was Stevie. It didn't click for Stevie right away.
No. I clicked, dude. I was like,
no.
You can see my head. It's
it took. I think like John and Jack quickly were like, oh my gosh, and then Stevie. One of you, I don't remember who, also didn't get it.
I think it was me.
It was John. It was okay. It was John. Sorry, Stevie.
He was like 10 seconds late.
Sorry. John, yes. John was like on my same page. Had he been reading it, he would have made the same mistake I did.
Yeah, it's tough out here, boys. It's real tough.
Yeah.
But we're going to battle through.
I feel like I'm just next in line. Like something's waiting for me. I've got to mess up something here real soon, but
it'll happen.
I can't pay attention to your guys' answers because I'm trying to read these names here so I don't mess it up. And then I end up messing Djokovic.
That's gonna be some sick merch at some point here with the HiMyName is on. It's going on something.
All right, let's talk about some of the retirements this year. Obviously, we had Rafa retire, but a few other big names retired. We had Andy Murray, Dominic Thiem, Richard Gasquet, the trick shot master Pablo Cuevas, Filip Krajinovic, Donald Young. And the best part about this list is our executive producer, Charlie Fox, sent this through. One of our own pod members, Steve Johnson, also retired this year, and he was left off the list. So, Stevie.
Must have been memorable.
I want your thoughts. Of all these people, who was kind of, outside of Rafa, because we've talked about a bunch, and Murray, yeah. Thiem, Gasquet, Cuevas, Krajinovic, Donald Young. One, are you insulted that you were left off the list? And
Stevie's low key like actually heated.
Yeah, you were heated.
So annoying.
Any of these other guys, like you have any great moments with them? I feel like you and Thiem were a little close, but first I want to hear how are you that you were left off the list by our own team.
You guys put Donald Young in the retirements and not me? Hags? Jesus. Yeah, honestly, reading through this briefing for this podcast today, I honestly thought it was kind of a joke that I wasn't on there. Not that I really care. Like I've said for forever, like the four of us, like we're pretty much replaceable pieces in the game of tennis. But Thiem had some great moments with him. Played a lot of doubles with him, actually, kind of randomly. But to have a slam in that era is remarkable. Cuevas, I got my first title over. All these guys, great years. It's never easy to hang up the rackets. This is something we've done for our whole life. So for some of these guys to end on their own terms is definitely important. And, for some people, it's, they want to play till the wheels fall off. So all these guys deserve incredible praise for their great careers, because it is not easy to do, what we do in tennis. So really cool. But yes, unfortunately, I'm annoyed that I'm not on the list, but that's that, it's something I'll have to live with.
Don't forget Federico Del Bonis also stopped this year. Just want to.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of names added into the Google Doc right now, and none of them are my name. So
wait, Karlovic, I feel like he's been done for like 10 years.
Yeah,
Karlovic just retiring this year.
Get out! Karlovic retired like 2019.
Yeah.
Well, Gasquet is retiring at the French Open.
At the French. Yeah, so that's next year.
He's not even retired yet. He's on the list before
he's
you.
Not even retired yet. And he's on the list.
He's retiring. Here, I'm going with one of my really confident calls here. I'm pretty certain it's at the French Open, he said, right, Stevie?
Yep.
It's okay, so he's still active, and he made the retirement list ahead of our own pod member, Stevie.
I mean, but he's had a better career, way better career, so he should get 2 retirements for all I care,
Thiem's only 31. These guys like Thiem and Delpo, I feel like they don't come back from a wrist injury. It's like the worst injury you can get. I feel so bad.
That's a good point, Sam. The wrist is brutal. But I think Delpo's the issue. What really forced him out was his knee. He slipped at Queens years back and was never.
Oh,
really...
is this from the slip? Oh, I thought it was just
that. That sort of started everything. And then he had he pinned an emotional sort of video on Instagram talking about all the travails he's had and the surgeries that went wrong and the rehab that didn't work. It was kind of sad. But anyways, yeah. So, I mean, Delpo's body really let him down. That's someone that, tennis fans weren't able to really see him in full flight for many years, maybe just a couple years. And that stinks for everyone.
Nice little cap on the career for Donald Young at the U.S. Open.
For sure.
Final in the mixed doubles.
Is it though?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, he hasn't played tennis. Like, if it's going to be your last tournament, like, you haven't played tennis much for like a year, and you're like, hey, like, you can play one tournament. It's mixed doubles at the U.S. Open. You made final. Like, it's a fun way to go out. Like, it's not the end all be all, but
if you're gonna, begrudge Jack's mixed doubles gold,
I was going to say, I thought mixed.
I think you wouldn't put
no, I'm
much
just
weight
saying, like,
into
as a nice way to go
Open.
out. Would you rather go out that way or just like losing first round of?
I also
future?
won that. I also won that in mixed doubles. So
wait, did you guys? I just looked it up. Filip Krajinovic. How many titles do you think he won?
0.
Correct. 0 titles.
he got close in a Master Series once, though.
Yeah, he did. He played a 24th ranked Jack Sock at the time and couldn't close the door.
Didn't even know I could make it to London, but we
He was
did it.
a 2010 Belgrade semifinalist, right?
Yeah. I beat him like 0-0 basically. In the semifinals. I think it was like 15.
The hype he had coming into the career. I know he had injuries and stuff, but God, the hype around him when he was coming in was because I think we're like the same,
Probably about the same
age and year, whatever. Yeah, I remember that was crazy. He was supposed to like win every tournament.
Other guys are retired too. Yeah, Karlovic, Sousa, Millman, Harrison, Delbonis, but
Then there's just Johnson on the bottom. Not even
Kind of a random question for you guys. I mean, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges here, but watching Murray come back from injury after injury and all the stuff he did at the end of his career just to be top 100 compared to like what Thiem is doing at 31, saying like, my body just isn't there kind of thing. Like, I think he could still grind it out and be in the top 100, but is that worth it to him? Do you guys have one feeling way or the other, kind of battling through and just competing for as long as possible, or going out when your name is still relatively towards the top?
I was also 31 and retired last year. So if this is a knock on 31-year-olds,
no. I'm just saying, like, because Thiem could grind it out for another 5 or 6 years, be, with his wrist or with the injuries he's had, maybe, a 50 in the world guy, but not a slam winner like he's been, or a finalist. Does that interest him, or do you want to be Murray, who's somebody I have a lot of respect for, who has grinded it out, hours and hours and hours a day just to get his body ready to go out there and, just to compete again, not really necessarily to win slams ever again, but just to compete?
People's bodies break down at different ages. There's no, I guess, back time to retire. I mean, for me, if my body felt good after 2023, I would have kept playing into my 39th year of life. So just wasn't quite able to do that. But for us tennis players, you play on hard courts, and for especially the American guys, like your whole life, it does take its toll on our bodies, as we all know. We don't all feel that amazing. Andy Murray probably doesn't feel great either, and he certainly didn't feel great grinding it out for all those years. But that's the kind of what made him click, right? He was sort of crazy in that regard, a love to compete. So I don't know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Everyone goes out at a different time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I stopped fairly early. Wasn't something I was interested in doing anymore. I think like the Andy Murray thing, like I think it's awesome for him. It's something he wants to do in the work he wants to spend. It's also my hot take. It's also like kind of sad to watch at times, like have him go out there kind of hobbling around and like looks like he's trying so hard to be out there, but it's not really even there anymore. And it's like one of those, I don't know, and I didn't want to get to a point where, or I don't probably any like where you, I don't know, you're just almost forcing yourself back out on the court, and you're kind of it's a little bit sad to watch. Would be my weird take or hot take, but he's also obsessed with it and he loves it and wants to do it, and he should do it. I mean, if he wants to go through all that.
Yeah, we saw at Wimbledon that he couldn't even take the singles court for his last ever tournament. So, anyways, but Jack,
it's case by case, like John's saying.
Yeah. Jack, I think some people have asked, and you can answer this or not. Did you consider just playing doubles after you retired from singles? Was that ever a consideration?
No. I mean, it was in my head for a minute. And then I think it was just the thought of traveling. I mean, the thought of playing a fairly decent schedule, whatever that be, and having to travel the world and be the half quarter and like be like going around and like I was trying to think of like what my day would look like. I'm gonna fly to Beijing or Shanghai and I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna go practice. Like I mean that's just I'm gonna go like just serve and volley and hit a few hit some balls cross and then what? Like I mean I don't know. So
what if you knew? What if you like almost had a guarantee you'd be like top 4 in the world, top 3 in the world?
I could have guaranteed that probably.
Right. Yes. Actually, you could have guaranteed that.
I mean, it would have been very partner dependent. But also, I don't think I could be traveling. And doing the whole thing.
I think as tennis players, we have a lot of downtime. I think people think when you're on the tour, like you're a lot busier than we actually are. I mean, there's a lot of downtime, right? Like you're practicing, you're taking care of what you're doing, but there's a lot of downtime when you're just playing doubles. So I think that's what would drive you crazy is what you're trying to say.
Right.
Oh, can we talk about Pablo Cuevas a little bit?
Pablo Cuevas, the ultimate trick shot master.
I'll put him up there. He's like a Mansour Bahrami type level of trick shots. He has ridiculous highlights. He has the one in Madrid against Zverev on the court number 1 or 2 or whatever, and he has one in I think South America where he got lobbed and hit this diving backwards pass. He has the fake overhead drop shot deal. Like that dude has so many shots in his weaponry that I couldn't even dream of pulling off. So I would put him as not a better athlete, but as a better magician than someone like on the court than someone like Monfils.
Yeah, because he has the stones to pull it off in like Grand Slam matches. That's the craziest part. Like we all do crazy stuff or try stuff in practice. Sure, that's one thing, but I would never try that in a match. Like that would be insane to me. Like my mind would explode if I tried to do the fake overhead drop shot between my legs. Like that just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no. If you don't know what we're talking about, go on YouTube and just type in Pablo Cuevas highlights. It's going to be like an incredible 10 minutes of your life. You're going to see the best shot making you've ever seen from a tennis player.
All right, everyone, that is it for the 2024 season review. We are going to pivot from random player, and John has brought up a trivia question that he is going to ask Sam. But before we get to that, do not forget to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you enjoy your podcasts. And of course, follow us on all the socials. Our handle is @NothingMajorPod. These episodes will be live on YouTube every Monday. And with that, John has been clamoring for this trivia question, so the floor is yours.
Sam, you have 1 minute to try to get all
someone get the timer out.
I got it.
Try to get all the correct answers to here. Okay, here we go. Since 1999, on the men's side only, there have been 7 Grand Slam champions that have a one-handed backhand since 1999.
Okay.
Can you name them all?
And
Federer.
Yes.
Thiem. Sampras. Querten. Three more. Come on.
You're fine on time. Don't panic.
I'm panicking. Since 1999.
Since 1999.
There was that weird, there's got to be like a random in there, like from like 99, 2002.
You're missing a very obvious one.
Yeah. Gaston Gaudio.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's not the obvious one, but
that's
hell of a get.
Man.
You got 23 seconds.
There's one really obvious one you don't have.
All right. Stop putting pressure on me. The Gaudio one should count for 2. A super obvious one I don't have, like Rafter.
No. He won
Philippoussis.
I'm feeling
No, Rosetsky. No,
He's panicking.
It's a minute. Oh no!
I'm missing 2.
That's 5 for
Stan Nieslaus. Oh
and who's the
You've
7th?
been really well, dude. Getting Gaudio.
Who was the 7th?
Okay, this is one.
Wawrinka was one I missed, and then
There's one more.
Okay, you ready for this one?
I had the 6th.
Did you guys know Gaudio? Did you have Gaudio, Stevie? Okay.
Yeah.
Albert Costa.
Oh, never would have gotten
Albert
that.
Costa? What, he won the French in like 99?
99.
6.
That
I
was
would have
good.
never gotten Albert
That was
Costa.
good.
Oh, that was great.
Good effort there, Sam.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I like that game.